All right, let's jump right in. Today we're looking at Anti-Waste Handling Cell Limited and their Q3 FY25 performance.
Definitely some interesting stuff happening over there.
Yeah, you've been gathering all this intel earnings calls, presentations, even dug into their financials.
Had to get the full picture, right?
Absolutely. And looking at all this, the first thing that jumps out is, wow, Antony Waste crushed it this quarter.
They did. Really impressive numbers.
221 core rupees in operating revenue.
A full 15% jump compared to last year.
And they're not just growing, they're keeping those profit margins healthy. 23.5% EBITDA.
You know, for anyone listening who might not be super familiar with EBITDA, it essentially tells you how profitable the company's core operations are.
Exactly, before you factor in all the financial stuff, interest, taxes, all that.
And you know, something that really stood out to me is that plant load factor at their waste-to-energy facility.
Oh yeah, 76%.
It means their plant is humming along super efficiently.
Makes you wonder if they can squeeze even more out of it.
Maybe. But even at that level, it's a big contributor to their success. And let's not forget their construction and demolition waste project.
Right, it just launched, and it's already adding to the bottom line.
It all ties into what we were talking about before, sustainability. This company is on it.
They're definitely tapping into something that's resonating with investors these days.
It's not just collecting the trash, it's what they do with it. Resource recovery, using assets effectively, turning waste into valuable products. That's the game now.
And Antony Waste is playing it well.
For sure. So how are they achieving this success? What's the magic formula?
Well, based on the earnings call, it seems to be a few key factors. Higher waste volumes, increases in those tipping fees, and they're getting some serious revenue from compost and RDF.
Ah, yes, refuse-derived fuel. Essentially, fuel created from waste.
You know, it's amazing how they're turning what most people consider trash into valuable resources.
It's part of a bigger trend, too, you know, that global shift toward renewables. They're not just dumping waste in a landfill, they're turning it into energy.
It's incredible, isn't it? And they're selling a ton of it. 38,500 tons of RDF in Q3 alone.
And over 6,400 tons of compost.
And get this, for the first 9 months of FY25, they've already sold 103,000 tons of RDF and 16,400 tons of compost.
Wow, that's impressive. Speaks volumes about their commitment to this circular economy model.
Taking what was linear, take, make, dispose, and turning it into a loop where waste becomes valuable again.
They're proving it can be done, and done profitably.
Their Conjuremark plant is a prime example of this. I mean, this thing is massive.
Oh yeah, you mentioned it handles about 90% of Mumbai's waste, right?
A staggering 7,500 tons a day. It blows my mind.
Imagine the logistics involved. Think about a city like Mumbai and all the waste it generates. Then picture almost all of it going through one plant.
It's incredible. Antony Waste is dealing with a challenge of epic proportions.
Definitely not for the faint of heart. And on top of that, they've got their PCMC waste-to-energy project in Maharashtra.
That's a really interesting one, the first of its kind in the entire state.
Shows you how forward-thinking Antony Waste is. They're not just keeping up with the times, they're ahead of the curve.
They're turning 1,000 tons of municipal solid waste into 14 megawatts of clean energy every single day.
And selling that energy back to the city at 5 rupees per unit.
A brilliant win-win, right? It tackles the waste issue and generates clean power.
Absolutely. Plus, they're using recycled water, eliminating the need for fresh water.
And saving an estimated 7 lakh tons of CO2 emissions each year.
Yeah, this project is a textbook example of how waste-to-energy can be a game changer.
But we have to talk about the standalone company performance this quarter. It was a bit, well...
underwhelming.
Yeah, that's one way to put it. What's the deal there?
Well, it's not as bad as it might seem. Antony Waste has traditionally operated with a bunch of special purpose vehicles, SPVs, for their projects.
Right, and they're moving away from that model.
Exactly. Now they're starting to award projects directly to their subsidiaries. It's a structural change that's impacting how the standalone numbers look.
So not a sign of trouble brewing beneath the surface.
Exactly. When you look at the consolidated performance, which includes all those subsidiaries, the picture is much brighter. It reflects the real strength and health of the company.
That makes me feel better. It sounds like their long-term prospects are still very promising.
Absolutely. Their management team is optimistic, and they've got a solid strategy for growth. Careful project selection, diversifying their offerings. They're setting themselves up for success.
This makes me even more curious about what they have planned for the future. How are they planning to ride this wave of growth in the Indian waste management sector?
Well, they're not resting on their laurels, that's for sure. We should definitely dive into that more after a quick break. We'll be right back with more insights into Antony Waste Handling Cell Limited. They're really zeroing in on things like waste-to-energy.
Yeah, biomining too.
Right, and expanding their sales of recyclables and RDF.
RDF, it's wild. They're turning trash into treasure.
Well, it's a smart move, especially when you consider the Indian waste management sector.
It's huge, isn't it?
Massive. Expected to double in the next 5 years. And Antony Waste, they're positioning themselves to be a major force in that growth.
It's like their motto is, don't throw it away. We can make money off that.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about that circular economy model. What really sets Antony Waste apart is their focus on sustainability. It's not just a trend for them, it's core to their
Yeah,
business.
they're definitely walking the walk, not just talking the talk. You can see it in their commitment to those ESG principles, environmental, social, governance. They're all over it.
Exactly. It's not just lip service, it's ingrained in everything they do, their operations, their plans for the future.
Right. I mean, we already talked about the waste-to-energy plant in Chinchwad. That's a prime
A
example.
flagship project, really.
And they're leading the way in biomining and RDF production. But it looks like they're not stopping there.
Oh, no, they're definitely not. They're exploring some really cool stuff, like using those end-of-life plastics,
Oh, yeah, for road construction.
working with IIT Bombay on that, which is super interesting.
So innovative. It's inspiring to see a company pushing the boundaries like that. It really goes beyond just, picking up the trash.
They're not afraid to get creative and find new solutions. And let's not forget, they've got the experience to back it up.
2 decades in the waste management business.
They know what they're doing, they've got a solid track record, and they're not afraid of a challenge.
I mean, the largest single-location waste processing plant in Asia, handling 90% of Mumbai's waste. They're pretty fearless.
Definitely not shrinking violets. And you know what? They're not just focused on those mega projects.
What do you mean?
Well, they really emphasize responsible practices throughout their entire supply chain.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and they seem to genuinely care about their employees and the community. It's more than just profits for them.
So strong financial performance, innovative, sustainable, socially responsible. They're ticking all the boxes.
Especially for investors who are looking for companies making a positive impact.
Yeah, impact investing is huge right now.
Absolutely. And their financials are rock solid. They've got a great credit rating, a healthy and growing order book. And their management team, they're bullish on the future. So from an investor standpoint, things are looking pretty good.
One thing that keeps coming up is management's focus on optimizing their operations.
Right, and streamlining their group structure.
What's the thinking there?
Well, by making their structure leaner, they can operate more efficiently, lower their costs, and ultimately boost their profitability. Shows they're proactive, always looking for ways to improve.
Always trying to stay one step ahead.
Exactly. And something else that stands out is their transparency. Their financial reporting is clear, and their governance structure is strong. Diverse board, independent committees, they're doing things the right way.
So it seems like Antony Waste Handling Cell Limited is a company worth watching. They're more than just a waste management company.
Way more. They're a resource recovery company committed to building a circular economy. It's a whole different mindset.
Waste isn't something to be discarded, it's an asset. And they're proving that you can create value from it, build a sustainable future.
They're leading the charge, and it's exciting to watch. This deep dive has given you a glimpse into the future of waste management.
Where sustainability and profitability aren't mutually exclusive, they can work together. It's a fascinating space to watch.
And maybe this has sparked some new ideas for you. What other innovations will we see in this sector? How can we each contribute to a more circular economy? These are important questions to consider.
Definitely food for thought. We hope you enjoy this exploration of Antony Waste Handling Cell Limited. And remember, keep asking questions, keep learning, and keep diving deep. And they're proving it. It's not just talk.
No, not at all. Actions speak louder than words, right?
Exactly. And their actions are speaking volumes. That commitment to ESG, those environmental, social, and governance factors, it's everywhere.
Yeah, it's not just a checkbox for them.
You see it in everything they do. Those innovative projects, the waste-to-energy plant,
Chinchwad, a great example.
their work in biomining that focus on RDF.
And they're not standing still. Always looking for ways to be better, to grow.
Yeah, that drive to improve, to expand, that's got to be a good sign for anyone looking at them, from an investment standpoint.
Absolutely. They're not afraid to put forward. It's exciting.
It really is. We've learned a lot about Antony Waste today, and it's encouraging to see a company in this sector really making a difference. So as we wrap up, what are the big takeaways for our listeners? What do you hope they walk away with?
I think the main thing is this. Antony Waste Handling Cell Limited. It's a company to watch. Not just for their financial performance, though that's impressive.
Right, there's more to it.
It's their commitment to creating a better world, a cleaner world, a greener world, a more sustainable world.
They're showing that waste management can be a force for good, driving innovation, creating value, and, protecting the environment.
All at the same time. It's not either or. They're proving that.
We've only just scratched the surface, haven't we?
Just a glimpse, but it's a glimpse into the future of waste management, where sustainability and profitability go hand in hand.
And it's a fascinating future. As you continue exploring the world of investing, keep Antony Waste Handling Cell Limited in mind.
Especially if you're looking for companies that align with your values.
They're a company that's truly making a difference.
And maybe this deep dive has sparked something for you. What other innovations are out there? How can we all contribute to a more circular economy? It's a journey we're all on.
That's a great point to end on. Thanks for joining us on this exploration of Antony Waste Handling Cell Limited and the exciting world of sustainable waste management. Keep asking questions, keep learning, and keep diving deep.